I'm Bridget Hempstead. I'm the founder of Cierra Sisters African American Breast Cancer Organization. Cierra means knowing, and if you have the knowledge, you have the power to fight against the effects of breast cancer. My story starts almost 15 years ago when I was sitting on my couch, resting. My 2-year-old daughter was sitting next to me, and the voice of the Lord spoke to me in a very warning and loud voice and said, "Get a mammogram and do it now." So I looked around in the room. There was no one there but me and my daughter and the Lord. I turned to my phone to the right and I called my doctor. I made the appointment and they said, "Come on in, we will talk with you about having a mammogram." When I got to my doctor's office, she did an exam. She asked me a series of questions, one to include, is there any family history? No, there's no family history of breast cancer in my family. Then her last question was, or her last statement was, "You're African American, you don't need to worry about breast cancer, and come back in 10 years. At that time, I was 34 years old. And I looked at my doctor with a very serious look and said to her, "I want a mammogram now." I demanded a mammogram. Not because I had a lump, but because the voice of the Lord spoke to me. She was upset at the request, but she did oblige me. So I went in to go get the mammogram. It happened to be scheduled on my birthday, my 35th birthday. I went in at 7:30 in the morning, went to get the mammogram. They took pictures, and then they wanted to take more pictures. And so on the conclusion, after they finished taking all these pictures, the technician looked at me and said, "You need to get a mammogram, and you need to see a surgeon, and you need to go now." It was very disturbing because they showed me the films and had explained to me that this is cancerous, and so my diagnosis was on my birthday. What a surprise. After I left the room, I went to the phone, and on the phone it says a 5-minute limit. I'm still in the doctor's office there where they're doing all the mammograms. I go there and I call my mother. You call your mom, when something like this is on you. And so I was hurt, I was scared, I was caught off guard because I woke up celebrating my 35th birthday. So when I left the doctor's office about probably an hour and a half later, I'm driving down the street and I'm on the freeway, and I began to talk with the Lord, and the Lord began to talk to me. And he said, "If I warned you, I have more for you to do. I'm not going to leave you now." And so when I left and before I got home, I had a peace that was almost unreal. The peace was so unreal. I didn't know what I was getting ready to face. So as I went on and I made the appointment to see the surgeon, like they suggested, the surgeon says, "Yes, you do have breast cancer. Here are some options. You can have a partial mastectomy, having part of the breast removed, or you can do radiation." So there's options on the table. And I looked at her and I said, "If I was your daughter, what would you suggest for me to do?" And she said, "I would suggest that you have a mastectomy." So I did that. I wasn't walking in fear. Before I had my initial surgery, was this mission that I had to do. And I started calling everyone I knew to tell them about breast cancer in the African American community. Did you know? This is what you should do. I began to educate myself before I even had the initial surgery. So then I went on and I had the mastectomy. When I woke up having the mastectomy, I actually had 2 procedures. I had the mastectomy, And I also had reconstruction done at the same time. And when I woke up having these surgeries, my surgeon, the first surgeon who did the mastectomy, she said this was a very good outcome. If we would have done anything else, we would not have found the source of the cancer that was there. It would have still been there. So she said this was a good outcome. The blessing was the cancer was so small, it was about the size of a pin from a pencil, a dot, and they were able to remove all the cancer. So after that, I'm moving along, and during this time, God had continually given me the song, His Eyes on the Sparrow. When I was on the freeway, the Lord was saying, His eyes on the sparrow. And, it was a testimony to me on